Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brianna and today I have a very interesting video for my college series. I want to start off by thanking everyone for their support. We're almost at 100 subscribers, yay! And if you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and help us reach those 3-digit numbers. So today's video is about how to choose your major or some guidance to help you choose your major for college. I know that it's very important and very difficult for every college applicant. I know when I was applying, even as early as my sophomore and junior year, I was already wondering, I'm like, how am I supposed to choose my major? I don't know anything about it. Am I going to like it long term? And let me tell you, your first year, you don't have to worry about it. You are just fulfilling general education requirements. So you do have time to figure out once you're in college. And plus, if you commit to a major when you apply or when you accept, you can always change it once you're in college, at least for most of the universities. Don't believe that just because you accepted going to a specific university or college under a specific major that you have to stick with it. It's not true. It's not set in stone in any way. You could always transfer departments within your university. Your university is just a simple formality of filling in applications, and sometimes if there's a competitive program like business or engineering, you might have to do an interview. But I mean, freshmen are expected to switch majors, like most freshmen do, and even sophomores and juniors. To some students, they don't know what they're passionate about and they just can't figure it out, and they're switching majors every few months, every semester, I mean. I know this might seem like a cliche, but honestly, do what you want to make a difference in, or something you're passionate about, because long term, you have to think of majors long term. This is going to lead to your career, and if you choose the wrong major, you often can't work in the... If you choose the wrong major now, you might not be able to work in your dream position at a specific company. For instance, if you want to work in something like, if you want to be a scientist, let's say a biochemist, you do have to study a specific type of major, either biochemistry, chemistry, biology, something along those lines. But if it's like a career, a general career like businesses sometimes accept people from all majors. It does bring a diverse perspective to their company, so it might be beneficial. But my point is, study the thing that you feel that you can do for years and years and years. It would be so unfortunate if you graduate college and you're top of your class and you apply for your dream position, but you can't really be accepted for the position because you studied the wrong thing. I know this might seem like common sense, but I'm just putting it out there. You have to think of it long term. What I always tell anyone that's trying to apply to college, for instance, my sister, she's going to be a senior this year, and I'm constantly telling her that she should choose something she feels at least slightly interested in, not 100%, because I'm certain I was not in any way 100% dedicated to my major. If anything, the major I got into university with is not the one I am studying right now. Please follow this tip. I know some students make the mistake of, or not the mistake, sometimes it works for them where they take difficult courses at the beginning, so that way they don't start off easy and they are dedicated all 4 years, and by the time they're seniors they have an easy course load, and that works great for certain people. But for those of you, and I include myself, that started off not knowing exactly what you wanted to do, I would start with general education requirements, because every student has to do them, and by having to take courses from different departments on campus, you might find out you are more interested in something else. Maybe you got into college under a science major and you take a business class, or maybe you take a music class and you find that you'd rather work in music production. Sometimes it happens like that. Just start off with the general education requirements. I know for me it was way different because I took so many GE requirements in high school early on, so then I transferred all those credits, and I was under a time crunch to figure out what I wanted to do, and it was very stressful. Okay, and then I know I mentioned that sometimes you should think of the major long term, like career-wise. You have to think about the positions that are out there for your major and think about the work-life balance that that career will bring to you. For instance, you have to consider salary. How much will I get paid if I study this specific major? And what type of jobs can I get with it? And I know sometimes people forget that salaries, like the salary averages we search up for certain careers, it is an average. It doesn't mean you will be able to earn that much. Maybe you'll go to a company and they'll pay you more than the average or even less. So you have to take that into consideration. I mean, most freshmen don't know exactly what they want to do. They're just going to college to figure it out. At least for me, I was a first-gen student, so I didn't really have someone to ask in my family. I'm the first in my family to go to college. So what I did, I was always talking to my college counselor in high school. I was telling him, I would always ask him what type of careers were out there, what he thought, knowing me, like what my interests, what he thought I should study possibly. And then once I got to college, my freshman year, I made sure to meet with guidance counselors, not guidance counselors, they're called career counselors. Every university should have a career center and you make appointments there. And they start off with general questions, what type of person you are, to determine what type of like work or work style you would best succeed in. For instance, if you're an extrovert, maybe working in a business environment where you work with a team might be best for you. But if you're more of an introvert, you might succeed in fields or positions where you work from home, or you work in your own time in office, or you work on your own time and in your own office. So it really depends on each person, but they are a great resource. I suggest everyone reaches out to their career center on their campus sooner or later. Even if you already know what you want to do, you might learn something. It never hurts to get another person's opinion. Another thing to consider is the job market. There are variations from year to year. Certain careers thrive more this year depending on the social circumstances. For instance, I'll speak of mine. I'm an environmental studies major, and I can tell you that from all my professors, they've told me in recent years there has been a growth in the demand for environmental-based careers because of the changes in our climate, pollution, global warming, all that. So there has been a change and a fluctuation in the job market. So in the future, there will be even greater demand for environmentalists, environmental scientists, anything in the environment or conservation services. You have to remember that you may choose a major now in 2020, but you won't be graduating probably until 2024. So you have to keep in mind that, are those companies gonna still exist once I graduate, or is that career gonna thrive once I'm done with my studies? I know certain people that want to study things like ancient history or very specialized majors, but you have to consider, am I going to be able to find a job once I graduate, or what am I going to do long term? I mean, there is research-based careers, like being a researcher is always great, but how many jobs are there going to be out there for me? And how many people are studying this career? Is it competitive? For instance, business is a very competitive field, and even as a major is so competitive, getting into the business school. So there's so many things to keep in mind. I know I say there's so many things to keep in mind, but I truly mean that I won't be able to cover all of it in this video because there's so many aspects to every single major. There is always different statistics that support different careers, so you have to consider that as well. I know I've talked about this before. I've always said that don't choose a major or a career for the money, because Honestly, how are you going to be passionate about your job? How are you going to wake up every day and go for, let's say, 8 hours a day to work or 5 days a week or even more if you don't like your job? For instance, all those people that want to be lawyers, or let's say doctors. There's so many students that start off school as pre-med students but aren't really seriously invested in making a difference in the medical world. It's more about, oh, this is a great job, I'll earn so much money. But since they focus so much on the money, they forget to consider how their work-life balance will be. Like, for instance, they work 12-hour shifts or more, depending on your specialty, for several days a week. Are you going to be able to put up with that for years on end? And will you be able to live and budget your life in order to pay back the medical school? There are so many aspects. I just remembered, side note, I took this course and it was taught by an emergency doctor. She worked in the emergency department at her hospital, and she would teach us specific cases and what happened, how they treated them, and we had many guest speakers. I remember she said that if you could be happy in any other field, in any other job, any other position, you should take that choice instead, because working in medicine, you have to sacrifice so much. It's not that you're sacrificing it and that's it. You're doing it for a greater cause, and I admire all the healthcare professionals, especially during these times. But what I mean is that, but I remember when I interpreted that, I was struggling deciding between continuing as a pre-med student or switching to a passion I had for environmental conservation. And at that moment, that when she said that light bulb lit up, and I switched my majors because I knew I could be so much happier in a field that I felt I was also making a change in my own way. I wouldn't have to sacrifice what I felt my future was in terms of family, because I know that as a doctor there are times where you can't be there for your loved ones because you are called in for extra hours at work, or you miss weekend plans because you have to work a shift. I know I'm talking way too much about my experience, but anyway, if you're interested in my experience and what I've done and at what point I am in my academic career, please comment down below, and I'd be happy to make a video specifically dedicated to that. And if you haven't done this yet, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel so I can share more of my experience and give advice and help you out and be that person I wish I had when I was applying to college. Okay, now I'm going to talk about, now this is specifically for those of you that truly don't know if you want to go to college, because there are those students in high school that are like, they're like, I don't know what I want to study, but I know I definitely want to go to college. That's always been a plan of mine. Or they've had this dream school their whole life and they finally get the opportunity to go, even if it means that it'll take them a while to choose a major. But then again, there are those students that don't know if they want to go directly into the workforce or if they want to go into college. And my advice for those of you that are considering not going to college, every person's different. Some people just want to work straight out of high school, and I think that's a great opportunity for certain types of individuals. Or maybe you just don't have the resources to go to college at this point. I would honestly put it off, or go to community college first, which is way cheaper, and then transfer to a bigger university, and that would save you so much money. I know if I didn't receive financial aid, I would probably do that, because at the end of the day, you graduate and you receive an education. Let me tell you,
college is so expensive,
especially those like big name universities. Another thing I would say is, don't stick to those like big name careers. Like, for instance, typically students, the first things they think about when you say, oh, I'm going to college, they typically think, oh, are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to be a lawyer? Are you going to be a business executive or a nurse? They don't take in mind that nowadays there are so many majors, so many careers, so many specialties, that there's just an endless amount of possibilities for anyone wanting to go to university, and there's just so much to choose from. You shouldn't be worried that if you go to college there won't be something you like. That's why in a previous video, I'll link it down below, I mentioned that when you go to university or college and you don't know what to do, what to choose, you should always go to a university that offers a lot of majors, or at least a decent amount. Like, if you're not sure, you're not gonna go to a school like that focuses on technology and science, because what if you want to study music and they don't have a program for you, and then you have to leave that school and apply to a new one or transfer, and that's just so much work, so much unnecessary work, than just going to a college that offers a wide range of choices. Okay, well, I think that's a good start for anyone looking into college or trying to figure out what type of major they want. I would be happy to create another video with more details and what type of resources or websites I went on to figure out what careers were out there and what like responsibilities each career had, and what type of major you should take and what type of major you should study if you want to work in a specific job setting. So I would be happy to do that. Please leave a comment down below and I'll get to that. And I'm honestly here to help and give my advice, and I'm willing to create the content that you guys want. So if you want another video maybe about breaking down the financial aid, or specifically how you apply to FAFSA, or what type of financial aid you're eligible for, I'd be happy to do that. There's just so many videos I wish were out there when I was trying to find resources and YouTube videos that would help me back in 2018, 2017. So please let me know and I'll be happy to do that. And please remember to like and subscribe so I can create more content for this channel. Thank you. And remember, if you want to live your best life, always keep it real. Thanks. Bye.